Welcome back to TMZ Live. It is still a mystery in Chicago, a really bizarre case you may remember from 2017. 19-year-old Kenneka Jenkins was at a party at a hotel in Chicago and vanished. Her body was found in a freezer. And nobody, to this day, still, they haven't figured out what happened to her between that party and ending up in the freezer. Well, now MTV is on the case, and it may not sound, you may be like, wait, why is MTV on the case? Well, they have a new series. It's called True Life Crimes, a spinoff from their very popular series True Life, and it is hosted by a guy who knows a lot about this case because he was an anchor in Chicago covering it. His name is Dometi Pongo. And he's joining us right now to talk about this new series and specifically what they've learned about Kenneka Jenkins. Dometi, welcome to TMZ Live.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for giving voice to this case. It's something that had us talking all over the country, but especially in Chicago as it relates to what happened to this girl. And not only were people on social media coming up with different theories as to what happened, but activists were mobilizing on the ground trying to compel the police and authorities to release all of the information they could possibly release so that people could get answers.
So, Dometi, you don't have to give it away, but are you just kind of tracing the hits, runs, and errors of the crime, or do you guys solve it?
So we explore every single social media theory. There were theories that her body was being harvested, was being put in that freezer so that they could harvest her organs. And where that theory came from was because there's a facility in Rosemont known as the Biological Research Center that was under FBI investigation for the misuse of human remains and body parts and was allegedly misusing organ donations. And so people thought that this was like, cadaver human trafficking happening. So we explore that theory. We also explore the theory that, that her friends had something to do with it, that it was a sexual assault. And then there were theories that the video surveillance camera footage was tampered with. We talked to a video forensic expert who tells us if that was possible, how we can tell if it had been tampered with or not. We talked to homicide investigators, and we have the first exclusive on-camera interview with the superintendent of public safety in Rosemont, Donald Stevens.
So you see you're chasing down a lot of these leads from social media, but you're speaking to Kenneka's family members, friends and family members, who I'm sure have tons of questions still about this case. What was the tone from her family? Did they have any information that helped, or did they just have questions for you that you then tackled?
We hear about these stories and we talk about, even if you look at the paper, a body was found in the freezer. Well, this body belonged to someone who was a bright young lady, who was smart, who was hardworking, held down 3 jobs at a time at different points in her life, was just a beautiful young lady. So they humanized the story for us. They let me know who Kenneka was, more about her life, and that helped me find out more about what she had gone through and what her timeline was like that night. But mainly the family just wants answers just like everyone else. We talked to her cousin. We talked to her uncle. We talked to her best friend who was there that night for the first time coming on camera, Bree. And we really dive into everything that you could even ask as far as that it relates to this case, man. We really, as far as solving it, I get all of the facts. I come to my conclusion as a reporter. But the viewers will have all the facts, and the conversation can continue from there.
Did the authorities ever come to you and say, you found some stuff we hadn't yet?
You got to watch the series and see.
Excellent, Dometi. Excellent.
I did this before.
So Dometi, obviously you were doing the premiere episode tonight on MTV, also on VH1, airing on both channels. But you're doing Kenneka's story, but what else are you tackling in this first season of the show?
We're tackling Justice for Junior case, the young man who was stabbed
in the
brutally,
Bronx.
caught on camera in the Bronx. Yeah. We dive into that case, and really what we're trying to figure out is why he was killed. We know he was killed. We know who did it, the Trinitario gang, but why did they do it? Because a lot of times, man, families need closure. We also dive into the case of Kadari Johnson, where we try to figure out whether his death was a hate crime or not. Now, Kadari Johnson was born male, but was exploring their gender identity and, was killed in Burlington, Iowa. We traveled to Utah, looking to the death of Jerica Binks, of the disappearance of Jerica Binks, and try to find out what happened to her. We look at Hannah Harris, who passed away on a Native American reservation, and dive into this murdered and missing Indigenous women crisis, #MMIW. And really, these stories give us an opportunity to talk about all of the issues surrounding these cases so that conversations go beyond just what happened to the victim, but how we can stop this from happening to these communities.
It sounds really interesting. MTV, VH1 tonight, 9 o'clock. Congratulations.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.